stay tuned and learn all about their natural and integrated services and programs. So let's go as we say good afternoon to Dr. Jason Batson. Are you hearing me, sir?
Yes, I'm hearing you, sir. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, buddy. And welcome to 106.5.
Definitely.
Fabulous Thursday.
Yes, man, definitely. Just do me a favor. Just read my main name now, please.
Davey.
Davey. All right, Davey, man.
Davey as in D-A-V-Y.
Okay, Davey. Okay. Pleasure to meet you, man. So, as usual, always a pleasure to be here on a Thursday afternoon speaking to the listeners of Akashvani 106.5 FM. At Batson Associates, we are strategic, integrative healthcare practitioners who basically try to help persons to understand the importance of, one, dietary considerations as regards to being healthy, because that's something that is always pertinent to one's good health, exercise, and that type of thing. The last program I had, we had a very interesting discussion where we had touched on circulation. We had some questions as regards to hormonal imbalance where females are concerned. And today's program, I'm actually going to touch on something that affects, I think, more persons than we actually realize, especially since COVID-19. I mean, the World Health Organization has stated that depression and anxiety numbers have skyrocketed. The unfortunate thing is whenever you're dealing with mental health and mental illness, it is something that is not as tangible, especially to the general individuals, professionals would be able to see certain signs that someone has signs of depression and anxiety, but generally a lot of persons can't really pick up those things. So we're going to talk a bit on that. We're also going to speak about mental health as it relates to proper sleep. There are a lot of persons who don't get proper sleep for a number of reasons. There are problems falling asleep, there are problems remaining asleep, and even when they do sleep, when they get up, they feel as if they now want going back to sleep, for want of a better expression. So it shows that the sleep is not as sufficient or as restful as it really is supposed to. Right, so that's what we're going to discuss. Keep in mind, it is an interactive program. We are live on all our social media platforms. We are Batson Associates Limited on Facebook. We are Batson Associates TT on Instagram, and on YouTube, we are Batson Associates Trinidad. So, you were going to say something? Sorry?
No. It's something that you mentioned earlier, and I lost my train of thought as you mentioned that you've been around for the last 12 years. You was talking about the average person would not be able to identify. And I can't remember what's the first thing you said that we were going to talk about today. If you could just take me back a minute.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I was saying we were going to touch a bit on depression, anxiety.
Depression. Right, and anxiety. So I wanted to ask you, I wanted to talk to go a bit on that. My phone line is already ringing down. Let me just put the numbers out there for the public. 627-3223, 627-3223, 625-2257, 625-2257, and you can WhatsApp us only on this number, 306-1065. 306-1065. Send any messages, any questions that you want to ask Doc, and we will discuss. My lines are ringing already, Doctor.
Okay, good, no problem. So you could go through. Yeah, man.
You want to go through them?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you could go ahead and entertain the questions. I mean, because, as I said, the questions could be anything on health and the products and services that we offer.
All right, hello. All right, hello, good afternoon. Yes? No. Okay. All right, so that call had nothing to do.
Nothing to do with what we discussed.
Because they're listening and they're asking for someone.
Okay.
So, before you go forward, very quickly, if you can, summarize you said the average person cannot allow to pick up on these signs of depression and anxieties.
Right.
I had my personal experience with it at home, so I want to know, off the bat, if someone is suffering with depression, or I don't want to say depression, because in my experience, you can see depression person was sad, you have children, and you know when your child is very active, and you know when you see him not active, you know something is wrong. So let's go with anxiety. How do we tell? What are some of the minor telltale signs that someone is suffering from anxiety?
The thing is usually, and that's the thing, usually you would have to see someone having an episode, an anxiety attack, or and they experience certain things, of course, racing heartbeat, and they usually tend to be very emotional, so they're gonna cry a lot. In some cases, you have trembling, shaking, to the extent that they become so weak that they can't stand up, they would have to sit down or lie down, right? As it relates to depression, the thing is, depression is a tricky thing, eh? And why I said most persons cannot identify depression is because majority of the time, when depression is identifiable, for want of a better expression, it means it's already far gone. So because they are functional people, what is known as functional depression. So they will go to work every day, they will smile, they will do certain things, they look like everything is good with them, and only if it is they reach a point where they have some sort of serious stressor that could now push them over the edge, for want of a better expression, then the possibility exists that person could reach so far to actually commit suicide. So, and that's what I'm saying, a lot of persons think in order for you to determine somebody is depressed, you have the telltale signs, but that's usually far gone already, where you have persons who would usually seclude themselves, they wouldn't want to attend functions and that type of thing. Some people, if it's really bad, they reach the point where they don't even feel to bathe, they don't feel to get up, they usually stay in a dark room, they confine themselves to an enclosed area, which would be like maybe a room or something like that. And sometimes you find that they will sleep a lot during the day and they remain awake at night. That's also one of the signs of serious aspects of depression. But in terms of functional depression, where you could actually go to work, you could do certain things, but there are times when those persons would go into a place that is not really, a lot of negativity in that type of place. And unless they have someone to speak to or someone who knows them well enough to say, hey, so-and-so, I really find, something I miss with you, everything all right, that kind of thing. You wouldn't be able to tell. You really wouldn't be able to tell. And one of the things that happened because of COVID-19, as I said, World Health Organization has issued numbers as regards to how high or how many persons actually suffer from depression now. Because remember, a lot of persons, one, they were confined to their homes for an extended period of time. That's something that people are not accustomed to. So that's caused persons to be depressed. Then there were persons, you weren't able to exercise, you weren't able to go outdoors. And exercise in itself is something that naturally produces endorphins, which are feel-good chemicals. So people weren't able to do that. Then you have persons who financial loss, some persons lost businesses, and so all those type of things. As a result of that, actually cause persons to be depressed. The thing is, what makes it practical or how it could become practical is to help persons to understand, listen to me, from a dietary perspective, from a supplemental perspective, from the perspective where you could actually do things for yourself to correct the situation. That is what I always try to help persons to understand. Because as I said, if it is left unchecked, you're going to have persons who will reach the point of committing suicide. The thing is, suicide numbers went up significantly for the last 2 years.
Well, I was going to talk to you about that because for some reason, people tend to believe that a person who may be suicidal or feel or have suicidal thoughts, that something is grossly wrong with that individual, meaning that mentally or they're just playing the fool or they're just looking for attention. So they feel suicidal or they may make an attempt. They don't really want to end their life like this.
But it's a cry for help.
It is. But people misconstrue cry for help as you are looking for attention. And I want to be very clear where that is concerned when you talk about a person in that state, because that is an advanced state of depression.
It is.
Where all else is failed. They feel like they can't speak to anyone. There is no one that can listen to them. Or if it listens, they can't help them. So they look for that. So I wanted to shed some light on that.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, going forward, what I want persons to understand. So, okay, from the perspective of dietary aspects, a lot of persons are not aware that there are certain foods that you can eat that could actually increase the likelihood of you becoming depressed. And that's So we went into a whole different realm there. And sugars is one of them. A lot of people do not know that sugar in itself is a very dangerous thing. Because sugar plays significant games, for want of a better expression, on the mind. When you look at what sugar does as it relates to things like endorphins and neurochemicals in the brain, and as relates to how addictive it is, sugar is 10 times more addictive than cocaine. That's to tell you how bad it is. But the thing is, the psychochemical effect and the biochemical effect that sugar has on the body and the brain is significant, and a lot of people do not understand that. Look, even a simple thing as coffee. A lot of people do not know that even with coffee, especially if you drink large amounts of coffee on a daily basis, you could end up in some problems because coffee has two distinct properties. One is a diuretic, which means it causes your body to lose sodium, and water follows sodium. So it will cause you to urinate a lot, so you end up dehydrated. That's one. And two, it is a stimulant. So we know how stimulants affect the central nervous system. It just does that. It could actually have racing effects on your heart and that kind of thing. But what happens later on, it could actually contribute to mental health problems. So there's a whole Pandora box out there, because there are a lot of persons who don't even understand that aspect of biochemistry and that type of thing. And
something that you said.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
And Batson Associates, that's one of the things that we try to help persons to understand. Now, one of the things we do at Batson Associates is something known as live nutritional blood cell analysis. Now, there are different types of blood tests that you can do. Blood is the most tested serum in the body. If it is you think that something is wrong with your prostate, or a doctor thinks that something is wrong with your prostate, they want to send you to do something called a PSA, which is an acronym for a prosthetic specific antigen. And based on the numbers that they get, your numbers supposed to be 0 to 4, the doctor will determine, okay, if you're over 4, you're showing some signs of prostate problems, the possibility exists your prostate could be swollen, whatever the case may be, and we need to deal with it. If, for example, you may have arthritis, you have a lot of pain, you have a lot of swelling in the body, a physician will send you for something known as an ESR. ESR is an acronym for erythrocyte sedimentation ratio. So that is going to give you a number. The number is usually 0 to 20. If you're over 20, it simply means that the inflammation in the body is very high. Now, inflammation or inflammatory response, which is usually a normal thing, if you have it in excess, it creates an environment that is conducive to disease. So the point I'm making is this. Those are all good and fine, and I use that in my analysis depending on what we're doing. But the thing is, when we do blood analysis here, where we basically take a drop of blood, so we're using capillary blood, we take blood from your finger and we put it under a microscope, we're actually able to view your blood like about 2,000-3,000 times, right? What that actually has the ability to give us insight into is, one, the condition of your liver. So the thing is, your liver is the organ that actually produces something known as, your liver converts protein to amino acid and amino acid to proteins. So the thing is, someone who may be depressed or someone who has a mental issue in the sense that, okay, let's say a nervous breakdown. So there are a lot of people who get nervous breakdown, and they may not know that they had a nervous breakdown. It could be diagnosed as, and I've seen this in experience, I've seen it diagnosed as bipolar, I've seen it diagnosed as a number of other things, but it was simply the fact that the body did not have the necessary raw material in order to produce neurotransmitters. And that's why I use the example with the liver, because it's like somebody building a house and you don't have any material, you don't have cement, you don't have bricks, you don't have steel, you can't build the house. So the same applies with neurotransmitters, because your liver converts protein to amino acid and amino acid to protein. But your body uses amino acid as the building blocks for neurotransmitters, which is things like epinephrine, neuroepinephrine, serotonin, melatonin, those type of things. So an individual who may not be nourished properly could actually reach, or an individual who may have a liver, or maybe a fatty liver, or the liver is not functional as it's supposed to, that individual could now reach the point now where they actually end up with a mental issue. Because you see, the thing is, in integrated medicine, one of the things that we do, I often tell persons, your diagnosis sometimes is not really important, in the sense that the symptomology is a cause of a greater problem. You could have 10 people with diabetes and all 10 persons end up with diabetes, which is high levels of glucose in the blood. But there's 10 different reasons why each of them became a diabetic. And that is the key point that a lot of persons have to understand. So if it is, let's say you're listening to this program, regardless of what your health issue is, whether it is depression, whether it's anxiety, whether it's hypertension, whether it's diabetes, is like, the best analogy I could use, imagine you have stagnant water in your yard, so you might have a bucket with water or some old barrel or something there, and you leave it rainfall, and it eventually start to breed what? Mosquitoes. So the thing is, you would go now, a Ministry of Health will send around the people, they spray, you might go and buy some sort of mosquito repellent or something. But the thing is, if they spray Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, by the next week or week after, what you're going to have? Not more mosquitoes?
Exactly.
Right. So that's what I was saying, that you have to deal with the root cause of the problem. So the root cause of the problem is the barrel with the stagnant water. So that root cause basically creates an environment that is conducive for the breeding of mosquitoes. So in order to correct the situation, it doesn't make any sense that you're going to go and spray the mosquitoes because they're going to continue coming. You need to get rid of the source. And that is where it comes in when you're dealing with, whether you're dealing with diabetes, hypertension, depression, anxiety, those type of things. That example I gave, I remember dealing with someone who came to us and they had a situation with insomnia. They couldn't sleep. It was atrocious. It was really bad. And then they had situations with depression and anxiety because of lack of sleep now, the body not be able to regenerate neurotransmitters, that type of thing. So the individual reached the point where they started to suffer from anxiety and depression. What we had to do now is actually correct that base issue. So we had to do some work on the liver, we did some work on the gastrointestinal system, because that's the next thing. There are a lot of people who are walking around who eat on a daily basis. You might be taking vitamin, you're taking supplements, and you wonder, oh wait, I'm always tired, my head hurting, I'm still feeling sick. Because the food is not being digested or assimilated. And that's a big issue a lot of people have. So you're eating, you're taking your supplements, but the body is not able to assimilate or digest the food to get the raw materials to do what is necessary to correct certain things, whether it's for your hair to grow, whether it's for you to have nice skin, whether it's for you to be able to sleep, whether it's for you to not have headaches, that type of thing.
All right, as we're talking about the blood right now, I have a texter that sent a message for you this afternoon. Hey, Dr. Batson, my first consultation with you involved a live blood analysis, MRA scan, from which you were able to detect issues that were affecting me. When can these tests be repeated to determine if there were any improvements on a cellular level, as I have been using the various products that you recommended? Now, she didn't say when she came in, or the individual came in and did it. So I guess she's asking if I did it on the 1st of April, how long again before we can start seeing improvements?
Usually, well, the thing is, they for themselves, based on whatever issues they may be having, whether it's headaches, high blood sugar, whatever the case may be, you're going to start to see results at least within your first week, 2 weeks. What we need to do in order to determine improvement, we would usually test anywhere between 3 to 6 months afterwards. Right? And then from there now, we basically would compare the results that you had before. So let's say the results that you would have gotten in April, and then we go April, May, June, July. Let's say the end of July now, we would compare those results. So it would go in the vicinity, depending on the case and the issues that the individuals may have, anywhere in the vicinity of 3 to 6 months.
All right. And another thing I wanted to touch on very quickly with you was you talked about diabetes. All right. And you said 10 different reasons. Now, I found that to be very interesting because one of the things I know a diabetic person is usually hereditary. You know, your grandmother had it, your father had it. So that may skip you, but come to the next one and that kind of thing. So I would like you to, for the benefit of those who may not totally understand, including myself, where that is concerned, can you just give us some more insight as to various reasons someone can, outside of hereditary, contact diabetes or become diabetic?
Okay, good question. But the thing is, let me just run quickly on the hereditary aspect. The thing is, there's a saying we have in medicine: genetic load the gun, lifestyle pull the trigger. So you may have a percentage that you are predisposed genetically to having things, whether it's cancer, whether it's diabetes, whether it's hypertension. Napoleon, the Bonaparte family, that was a cancer family. When you check them, that family, his parents, grandmother, all of them was a whole family that was ravaged by cancer. But what you have to take into consideration as well is that the genetic predisposition for any or most diseases is very small, maybe 5%, 10% is so much. A lot of the times it has a lot to do with lifestyle. And diabetes is one of the most, in I think all the diseases, diabetes is one where that is the truest. Because when I made mention of 10 different reasons why you could become diabetic. Let's say, for example, let's say you have arthritis. And because you have arthritis is high level of inflammation in the body. So it means most of the time a medical professional, Western medical professional, is going to recommend something known as prednisolone. Now, prednisolone is a steroid, it's a corticosteroid. But the thing is, if you use that long enough, you could end up with something known as steroid-induced diabetes. So that's one way someone could become diabetic. Then another way you could become diabetic is if it is you have issues with your intestines. Now, we know 70% of the immune system lies in your gut. So your gut is an environment that needs to be optimal for specific pathogens. So probiotics is something that a lot of people know about. Probiotics are basically healthy bacteria in the gut that do a number of things. So the point I'm making, you could reach a stage where there's something known as candida. Candida is a fungus that you're supposed to have in your intestines, but you could end up with something known as systemic yeast or systemic candida infection, where it is in the entire body. Those pathogens, remember, all living organisms eat and they excrete, right? Because of that high proliferation of pathogens in the intestines, it could now have a spin-off effect where it interferes with your body's ability for insulin to be produced in the body, and it also interferes with your body's ability to metabolize glucose. Because remember, diabetes, the issue with diabetics, whether you are type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 4, type 5 diabetic, is that the problem is you have high levels of glucose in your bloodstream. The thing is, glucose is not supposed to stay in your blood. Glucose is supposed to be stored in your cells to be later on utilized by the body when the body calls on it, especially your brain, because your brain is basically the only organ in the body that uses glucose and glucose fundamentally for its function. So in a situation like that, you find that the end result is high levels of glucose in the blood. But the reason why you ended up in that situation was because of the pathogens. And let me give you a next example quickly. There are women, when they go through different transitions in their lives. So let's say a woman is going through menopause. Menopause is when women stop or cease seeing a menstrual cycle. But you have different phases of menopause. So they could be premenopause, which is before menopause. They could be menopause, which is where they're actually going through menopause. Or they could be post-menopause, which is after menopause. Now, the thing is, a lot of women end up with a situation where, because of the hormonal imbalance in the body, as a result of this whole menopause situation, they can actually end up with elevated blood glucose levels. And later on, if it is not dealt with properly, they can become a diabetic. So that was 3 examples where you end up with the end. And that's something that, believe me, most people do not know. Most people, there are doctors who don't even know what I just explained there. Because you have to understand the root aspect or the root cause of what contributed to this final issue or symptomology, which is high levels of glucose in the blood.
Well, Doc, I appreciate you explaining that, at least giving us 3 examples of reasons as to how a person can become diabetic. And I have another question here from another texter. Remember, you can text us at 306-1065. We are in with Dr. Batson at this time, dealing with the body and health. It says here, Dr. Batson, what advice do you have for someone recently diagnosed with diverticulitis? If I pronounce that word.
Oh, diverticulitis. Okay.
But diverticulitis.
Yes, diverticulitis. So diverticulitis quickly is an inflammatory condition of the bowels. So the lining of the intestines have like various loops. So the way intestine is designed, you have your ascending colon, you have your transverse colon, your descending and your sigmoid colon. So the thing is, the colon is primarily about 23 feet in length. If they were to take out the colon and stretch it out, it would be like about 23 feet in length. Now the thing is, what people end up with, they end up with something known as diverticuli, which is like pockets in the wall of the intestines itself. Now that is not supposed to happen. When that happens, what it does, because of the pockets, it actually creates an area where pathogens could actually go in and they now become problematic, where they could actually fester and cause problems. So you find one of the first things an individual who has been diagnosed with diverticulitis needs to do, they don't drink enough water. Hydration is everything. So the rule for drinking water, a lot of people do not know that you have a rule for drinking water. The rule for drinking water is your body weight divided by 2 in ounces. So let's say, for argument's sake, if you weigh 180 pounds, half of 180 is what, 90? It means you're supposed to drink 90 ounces of water. So you would normally hear people say,
that's daily, 90 ounces of water daily.
Daily. And that's your minimal requirement. Because somebody who weighs 300 pounds and someone who weighs 100 pounds, the water requirement is different. People generally say you're supposed to drink 8 glasses of water across the board.
That's what I was going to tell you.
No, that's
not true.
No, that's not true at all.
What I find if I drink a lot of water during the day, I start to feel bloated as an individual. You know, I start to feel it gives an uncomfortable feeling.
Right.
Now, what you're saying there, I'm not a little worried now because I'm a person that don't really drink much water.
Yeah. You need to correct that. You're going to end up in some problems. Because you see, the thing is, as I said, hydration is everything, you know. Apart, the only thing that is more important to the human body than water is oxygen. Oxygen is the most crucial thing that a human being needs. After that, water is more important. Water, yeah, because water is more important than food. You could go a month without food. Once you have water, you wouldn't die. But if you could only go a certain amount of hours without water. Once your body reaches the point where it is dehydrated, what the body does, survival mode, it's going to start to take water from your muscles, it's going to take water from your intestines, it takes water from your stool, which is why constipated people are usually dehydrated people. And that's something that, that's something that a lot of persons don't understand.
That's a text.
Yes, go ahead.
This one was on my phone here. We talked about diarrhea. And they were asking when a person, they usually say when a person is going through that phase, you know, the diarrhea a lot and whatever, that they become dehydrated and they need to rehydrate with sometimes with salts and Gatorade or interjuminal as a repellent. You know, so what advice do you have for a person? What really happens to the body when the body is going through that diarrhea phase?
Well, the thing is, if you have diarrhea, it means the body is basically trying to expel something there. So the thing is, you don't want to take something to stop the diarrhea, but as you said, you need to use things to basically hydrate the body, which would have electrolytes. So you have like dehydrate. Right there.
You're not stopping the diarrhea.
No. That's usually not a good thing to do. Because, let's say you have diarrhea because of food poisoning, and you go to take something to stop it. What the body is doing, the body is naturally in its survival mode to get
expelling.
Exactly. It needs to get the pathogen out. So whether it's a bacterial infection, a viral infection, a fungal infection, the body is going to start to cause you to have diarrhea. The objective now is to let the diarrhea run its course. Once it is, but the thing is, if the diarrhea has to reach to the point where it is really ridiculous and it could come to the point where you're severely dehydrated and it's an emergency, then we would have no other choice but to give you something to stop it. But most of the time, that is not the case. So what you would need to do is hydrate. You use things with your electrolytes, your hydrating salts, whatever the case may be, that is recommended by the practitioner, and you just allow it to run its course. And once you do that, you're going to be all right. You don't stop diarrhea, so you need to be very careful, especially as the cause of the diarrhea. If it's food poisoning, definitely you can't stop that. You need to
let it run its course.
You have to let it run its course to get it out of the system.
All right, guys, you're the time today. We just on the nose here right now. Doc, any closing remarks and maybe your contact information? That's how they get onto you? Yeah,
definitely. So you could feel free to give us a call. Our telephone number, you can give us a call on 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. Those locations, we are located on the first floor of Money Talks building. That's Money Talks building in Montrose, Sugarnas. We're also on the corner of Ransomwood Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Dede, as well as Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. James, and those of you in Tobago is the Triangle Building in Scarborough, Tobago. You can feel free to check us out on Facebook. We are Batson & Associates Limited. On Instagram, we are Batson & Associates TT, and on YouTube, we are Batson & Associates Trinidad. Okay?
Trinidad.
Yes.
All right. Dr. Batson, thank you very much for joining us here on 106.5. Of course, keeping us up to tune in the world of health.
Definitely.
Have a great one, sir.
You too as well. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
All right. Indeed so.
Yes, Facebook family. So again, interesting program. We talked about a number of things there. Keep in mind again that information for the nerve restore. So you can call any of those numbers, 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That is 314-9975. Okay, so let me see if I can handle some questions quickly here. Ms. Jennifer Valentine is saying, good morning again, Dr. Batson. Can I get your link so that I could order from Texas? So, Ms. Jennifer, here what you need to do for me. You go to, just send a WhatsApp for me, please, to 1-868-314-9975. Okay, so that's 868-314-9975. All right, Miss Rachel Johnson is saying, you need to do a Sunday program on menopause. Okay, Miss Johnson, I'll take that into consideration. Miss Jennifer Schaefer is saying, always highly informative. Thank you, Dr. Batson. You're welcome. Am I missing anything there? Miss Judy Patricia Jones is saying, good morning. Handsome, thank you very much. Miss Pamela Moses, good afternoon again, Doc. Right, thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys for listening. And Norma Valdez is asking, what is the nerve restore good for? Miss Valdez, that nerve restore good for everything. But what it primarily does, it is an adaptogen. It actually helps with sleep. It also helps with anxiety, depression. It literally makes you feel better and help your body actually deal with stress well. Okay? Ms. Valdez is saying, could you please say your number again? Yes, that number that you can call 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That's 314-9975. And those locations, we are located on the first floor of Montauk's building in Montrose, Chaguanas. We also on the corner of Ransom Road Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Dede, as well as Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. James, and the Triangle Building in Scarborough, Tobago. Anselin Simon is saying for diverticulitis. Okay, so for diverticulitis, there's a product we carry called Digestive Balance. We also have Digestive Restore. I would not recommend Santulan initially. I would have to do a consultation with you or have you meet with one of our consultants, either Ms. Ramdan, either Mr. Green, either Mr. Bastamante. And I'll be able to give you some information. But the diverticulitis is an easy thing to deal with. Take what I'm telling you. That is very easy to diverticulitis. The products, as I said, Digestive Balance, Digestive Restore, Optimizer is also good. You may need some inflammation formula, the silver with mineral formula. I could put together a proper protocol for you, and in 220 have that problem. Your diet is also very important. You do not want to be consuming too much of refined sugars and processed food. That is going to worsen that situation. Okay? Okay, so Mr. Simon, I hope I answered your question. Miss Jennifer Valentine, you're very welcome, my dear. Miss Norma Valdez, you're in the US, no problem. Anyone who's outside, just keep in mind that you just send a nerve restore and those things, and the tea is very easy to send. As I said, the issue we have in a bit is the heavy products, because I don't want it to cost $1 million to send for you. So we, in the process of working out something where we do a fulfillment center in the US or something like that. But we will correct that situation in due time. All right, you guys? So thanks very much for your time. Those numbers again are 222-8261. That's 222-8261, as well as 314-9975. That's 314-9975. Hey, Instagram. Okay, somebody asked a question on Instagram, man. I think her name is Daria. Okay, D-A-R-I-E. What can someone take for hair loss? If your hair falling, that's not only an external problem, that's an internal. So it means you need a cleanse. So you need some alkaline water, you need some santulan, you need a detox. You also need, there's a product we have called Optimizer. And you need some vitamin C 1000. A B complex will also help as well. But you could also, we have those things at any one of the locations. So you could always call the number, message us, and we will be able to give you some information. So you guys, Miss Melissa, Honeybee Phillips is saying, hi again, Dr. Batson. Can polycystic ovaries, cause intramural bleeding, and what can help? Yes, it can. Polycystic ovaries, fibroids, ovarian cysts, endometriosis, all those things could cause that problem. There's a product we carry at Batson Associates called Women's Formula. That helps. Cyst and fibroid formula is also a very good product. We got some really good feedback with clients from clients with that. So that's something you could also get as well. Okay? Okay, so you guys, as we always say at Batson and Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. God bless you guys, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Just now, let me answer one more question. Ms. Ayana is saying, is it safe to inject the knees with gel? No, that's not safe at all. You're wasting your time and your money. Right? Don't do that. A number of things we have to correct that. Inflammation formula. Try and see if you could get some CMOS. If you could get, well, I don't know where you're from, my dear. I'm assuming it's Trinidad. If you're outside, see if you can get some CMOS or what they call Irish moss. Prepare it and blend it and drink it. No milk, no sugar. That will help in terms of building back the musculoskeletal system. Remember, bones are calcium, magnesium, phosphorus in the form of calcium phosphate. So when you have problems with cartilage and any aspect of the musculoskeletal system, you need to give the body things to repair that, and it can be repaired. All right, Miss Ayana. So if you're in Trinidad, you're looking at joint T, you're looking at inflammation formula, you're looking at the Santulan, you're also looking at the omega with the astaxanthin, and you'll get some good good results there. And okay, hi, it's me, Ayana Richardson. Oh, okay, yeah, fancy Instagram name. All right, good, no problem. So God bless you guys, and do enjoy the rest of your evening. Look forward to Sunday's program. I'm not know if I'm doing an evening program as yet. I'll let you guys know, and we'll go from there. So take care. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon. God bless. Bye-bye.